Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yuri Folari. Hope we meet you well. Let's return to a subject we have touched upon earlier. I'm talking about the cybersecurity, the cybersecurity provision. Government is under pressure. Excuse me, is under pressure to sort of stop the cybersecurity levy, by which I mean that many people, have cried out, saying that it is going to increase the hardship. But you know that it was explained to us that this was a levy, half of 1 percentage point that is now to be levied on a whole list of uses concerning internet and mobile banking. Now, there are those who are saying that this new provision, which is coming from the revised Cybersecurity Act and was set up as a result of it, the whole idea is to sort of provide the funds so that we would have the wherewithal to enhance cybersecurity measures. Anyhow, whatever it is going to cost. And this cost to the user is what has been the subject of much discussion. There are those who see that it is absolutely necessary, and there are those who are saying that even if it is, perhaps this timing, perhaps not now. I don't know, but we have an expert in the sense that he's a member of the House of Representatives. In fact, he's the chairman of the House Committee on Electoral Matters, but he can also speak to us on these matters. I'm talking about Honorable Bayo Balogun. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
And thank you very much for coming on the program.
Welcome.
First of all, I know it's one thing to read in the papers what we do read, but we are hearing that the House of Representatives seems to have issues with this particular provision, and as a result has counseled government to consider, removing it or at least not implementing it right now. Let me get the actual position, seeing as you are a member of that hallowed house.
No, thank you once again for having me. The House of Reps cannot advise government to reverse a decision taken by the House of Reps, by the National Assembly. You see,
well, to suspend the implementation.
I think this one thing I believe is we actually not taking the function of the legislature seriously in Nigeria.
Okay.
You see, most of the time we are always reacting to issues. The act was signed in 2015.
The original act?
Yes, it was signed in 2015, and with just a little amendment recently. And I believe whenever we have very serious bills like this, stakeholders must actually come on board to give expert advice. Because the National Assembly is made up of people from various fields and not necessarily experts in a particular field of topic, a particular topic they have at that time. So it was unfortunate that even at that period, we didn't really hear much about this bill until it was passed. I wasn't in the House as of 2015, but at least it was not actually a well-discussed bill as at that period. And people are not actually saying anything about it, and especially the press too. I think it's very important for even the press to look at when we have delicate bills as this, for experts in that area to come out, deliberate on it. Let's have an insight on the implication, because sometimes the number might look so small, the fraction 0.5, probably when they were passing the bill,
half of
people
1%.
look like just half of 1%, or that's just a little amount. But by the time you look at the implication on the volume of transaction, then it becomes a very big amount of money. From what we are hearing, some people are saying it's going to be up to a few trillions of naira in a year.
Yes.
In a year. Then you look at, okay, yes, is cyber security necessary? Yes, it is necessary. People are losing money through transactions. What has been done over time? Then what is going to be done by the time we now have this money coming in, because these are the information that has to be given to people. Once I have value for my money, people might not even complain. Some people lose millions of naira. If you'll be refunded when you lose such money, then it becomes just like an insurance. You pay little premium in case you are going to suffer any loss in future.
The point you are making has actually been noted in the numerous conversations that have been on this, that nobody has said that indeed will be one of the effects of
yes, these are the areas government will literally need to tell the people. These are issues that would have gone earlier, even before the implementation. Okay. But let's say that, okay, they've actually announced, but within the short period, let them come out with some of this information so that people will know what they're actually paying for. So it's when you know what you're actually paying for, that's when you cannot be talking about, yes, is it worth the price? Because we're talking about cost-benefit analysis now. How much am I paying for what service? So these are the areas that people just need to know. It's not just about the amount of money.
It isn't. And, so I wonder, since the House is reported to also have directed its Committee on Banking Regulations and banking generally, as well as other institutions to, come up with, a position to guide the central bank. Now, when you hear that kind of thing, the central bank that put this out, as you said, even though people have said that the people were not adequately informed, the central bank that put this out must have thought about it long and deep. But now, perhaps as a result of the outcry, now the House is reported to have directed the committees on banking regulations and banking and other ancillary institutions to come up with a position to guide the central bank. Maybe it does appear that really, contrary to the headlines, the House of Reps hasn't actually taken a position on this, but they are calling for a closer scrutiny. And
you see, that's why I said most of the time we're actually reacting to issues. Yes, even on our part, these are issues that would have been done thoroughly at the committee level with the stakeholders. But one thing is like, unless an issue becomes sensational, Nigerians don't really bother. If you're talking about sensational matter and everybody wants to come out and say, yes, this is what we want. But a bill like that, some people just say, well, how does that affect me? They're talking about cyber security. Some people say, oh, how much money do I even have? They are talking about the billionaires. It's those people who have so much money that are afraid. Okay. So people don't really bother at the right time that they needed to contribute to input of these bills. So these are areas that all the stakeholders, people in the financial business are actually supposed to come and talk about. The people in the ICANN body, the banking bodies coming together, looking at these implications. You see, for ordinary Nigerians, you're talking about a bill on cybersecurity. How many people will feel concerned? But we needed people who are in the field. You see, the National Assembly is made up of various people, like I said. We rely on inputs of stakeholders.
Yeah, but there's a certain expertise expected of the honorable members or the distinguished senator as a result of the position that they hear. Now, they themselves are not going to be a jack of all trades and master of all. They rely on, I imagine, research assistants. You people have all those supporting staff, ancillary staff, so that you can take a right position on behalf of the people. And as we have said now, Nigerians might not react to these things when they should have. That can only be coming from a position of, excuse my saying so, a lack of knowledge. And that is one of the areas in which the House of Reps, for instance, might have been able to help. That I know that my
and that's why we said the CBN ought to have actually done that before actually bringing out this implementation. So let's say they're now taking the...
There are people who are saying that we didn't know when the first reading happened. We didn't know when the second reading happened. There are people who are saying that.
You see, that that's the area that I said that average Nigerians don't actually bother about what happens around us. Even not in the National Assembly, even in our various state assemblies, even in our various local governments. Some people don't even know the function of a local government councillor is to make laws, their bylaws. So people don't even know. So, and sometimes when you have issues with some of these laws, instead of coming out and criticizing the government, yes, the bodies who are, the professional bodies are there to thoroughly look at these issues and proffer amendments.
But this is like
so these are issues so that it's not everything that the executive can actually handle. This it was an outcome of a law, a bill that has been passed, now a law. So the executive cannot take action on it contrary to what is actually stated in the law. But what we can do is when the professional comes, because as it is now, many of us are just talking yet. We have not actually seen the impact. We have not actually known if it is worth it or not. Maybe seen the law
to study it properly.
So we're talking about just the percentage and the money. We don't even know what is going to be the impact of the function of the job to be done. If it's going to save me 500 naira and I'm going to pay 50 kobo, I'm not going to be bothered by the 50 kobo alone. I'm going to be bothered by the 500 naira that will be saved.
Okay.
So people still need to be orientated. Look, an average Nigerian is not ready to pay insurance. If you tell an average Nigerian, please come and buy an insurance policy, I don't want me to die.
It's a hard sell. It's a hard sell.
It's just like an insurance policy. So it's going to be very difficult for government to sell. Not that because it's not good, but because, look, who told you I'm going to lose money? Why do I have to pay so much?
People are just not knowledgeable enough.
Yes, that is the area we are now going to start working on. And that's just the advice the National Assembly are just giving the Committee on Banking to go out, talk about these issues, talk to the relevant institutions so that if they need to discuss call a stakeholders meeting, let's put out more information into the public. So they've not actually... they are not actually criticizing. They are actually just advising way to go. So that by the time we all see it, it's going to become all our responsibilities to go to our various local government and various constituency to educate the people at our own level, apart from the banking sectors. Okay. So these are the issues that we know. But in all, we should pay more attention to the National Assembly. It's not just about this one. There are a lot of bills that are being passed where we call for public hearing. You hardly see stakeholders coming. Okay. When the one during the last constitutional amendment, the day they came to Lagos, the Committee on Constitutional Amendment came to Lagos for public hearing, the hall was empty. And that was the time we had the NSAS protest. And the state police was on the burner at that period. It passed at the National Assembly. It went for stakeholders, for the public hearing, but never made it back because people who are in support of state police never came out to say, yeah, we are in support of state police. Okay. Well, Lagos, that NSAS actually caused so much lives and properties, people never came out on that day. The hall was virtually empty. And that is the kind of thing we are talking about. That was the time people who made the impact. The president cannot just change the law. The president cannot take actions different from what we have in the law. As at that period up to today, security is still in the purview of the federal government. Okay, so unless we now remove it. Now we have also passed it we are done the same thing again. We are going to go for public hearing, and we pray that people come out this time around to support the state police. Okay, you're talking about state police. The role of the legislator. Of the role of the legislature. The need for people to be very conversant with what we do and also come out when they need to. It is not when the law has been passed, then we now start reacting. We must be proactive. We must know that the National Assembly can never do anything without their input. Their input matters. So let's leave that there then, since, as you've explained, the cybersecurity levy and matters arising is, shall we say, it's an ongoing matter of investigation. And the House hasn't really, to the best of your knowledge, taken a position on it.
even though the reports say that it was raised by an honorable member of the House, but we'll leave that.
No, naturally, it's an issue, so it becomes a matter of urgent importance at that level. So
it was raised by the House minority.
Yes, it must
leader.
be raised
exactly.
so that people will actually start doing something about it.
Okay.
And that's what we're also doing here.
Okay.
And it's explaining to the people. I know how many people have actually explained to within the last few days.
You know, but okay. I actually spoke, when I was introducing you, also introduced you as the chairman of the House Committee on Electoral Matters. And that might be an area in which
that is the area of Nigerians are
very much more interested in. Tell me what work has been going on concerning electoral matters, because we're going to have to switch as a result of, you know, what you've said. Say, okay, let's now concentrate on your area of specialization, electoral matters.
Well, like I said, Nigerians are actually very, very interested in controversial issues like this. The election is the most controversial issue in Nigeria.
Have there been any developments then?
Yes, we've been doing so much. Yes, we've been.
What would be
in fact, during the last
work of your committee, sir?
During the last amendments, the most important aspect of that amendment that actually changed
the electoral law.
Yes, the 2022 amendment. The most important part of that legislation is the introduction of the beavers. But to so many people, it's more about the transmitting of the results. But to me, the introduction of the beavers actually changed the narrative. As of today, accreditation was actually where people do most of the double voting and all this stuff. But by introduction of the beavers,
you know, which is
actually stopped
for biometric
voters accreditation.
Yes,
system.
So before you continue, sir, Reverend Dominic has called in. Let me find out exactly. Good morning to you, Reverend Dominic.
Good morning, Chief Yori. How are you today?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning to your guest.
Yes.
Good morning,
Honorable Balogun.
Honorable Balogun, first, I want to ask Honorable, is he not worried that since government, since 1999 till now, all the, what you call it, all the words, what I use now, whenever you issue a statement from House of Reps, the government doesn't keep it. Does it bother you? I've heard that you said they should suspend this cyber cafe 5%. But they will not leave, not because of this government, since 1999. Does it bother the legislature that when they issue some statement, it's ignored and they move on? That's number one. Let me answer, Honorable, on the issue of public hearing. Honorable, you are fighting from National Assembly to have independent candidates. Why should I, Reverend Dominic, will not come to the public hearing and make my opinion known? Your security men, your policemen will ask you, are you from this stakeholder? Are you from that stakeholder? Are you from Amnesty International? Are you from CSO? I've resigned from CSO for long. I've resigned from Amnesty International for long. At my age and time in Nigeria, I'm supposed to make my own opinion known. And let me give my opinion on state police. And I'm giving you an example. I will close. If Dr. has come to Abuja 3 weeks ago with state police, do you know what could happen when federal police will feel more serious than state police? What happened with Dr. coming to protect his principal not to be arrested by EFCC, which is normal? Come and answer. If Dr. has come with state police, could you paint a picture what could have happened? This is what I want to tell you. One is that there must be individual making his own position known on public hearing, which I have denied several times. And again, let the National Assembly harmonize taxes is too much. To Chief Yori, it comes back to what I said yesterday. Communication, information. This government must come out clean to inform Nigerians what they want to do. Mr. President has good intentions, but Mr. Yori, you must communicate it well. A teacher is not a teacher until you communicate well. You may be a teacher with all the certificates, but we're able to communicate to your students the intentions, the purpose of a course. This government is not communicating well. And I think, I talked to George with support me yesterday, that we need a good, effective Minister of Information to communicate to Nigerians. We're in dire stress. The policies are good. It's painful. Yes, you will do operation without some pain, but you must tell the patient, this is the pain, this is the gain. So the patient will be prepared for the pain and the gain. Communication, information is important for this government. Please, God bless Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Reverend Dominic.
Thank you, Reverend Dominic. You see, when it comes to communication, I said Nigerians, we only love the sensational part of information. Today, I believe there are so many medias now that are actually chunking out information. If you read through your phone every day, there will be these headlines. But people will only read only the one that they feel is very important to them.
Okay, so
now,
what you're saying, sir, is that
but it's the culture of
what
reading.
Reverend Dominic is saying. You are saying that the information might be out there,
yes,
but
there are
might
lots of
not catch the eyes of most Nigerians,
yes,
at the time.
Unless it becomes sensational. That's what they love. So now that people are talking about look on the let me tell you something.
When you say sensational,
few weeks ago, if anything had become
until it moves to the front page.
Yes.
Because when you say sensational,
yes,
you know, it's
yes,
nothing sensational.
everybody's talking about it.
Half of 1%.
Now, what we're talking about is that if this thing was put out about a few weeks ago, and they're talking about it, cyber security, the person will just flip to the next page
because it doesn't
understand what's
they don't understand.
Yes,
the news is out there, but was not interpreted. Until we are now told that it is starting in 2 weeks' time. You will be incurring
that
half of 1% extra charge.
Go and do your NIN number today. Every Nigerian will not go until it's about 2 days to close. Until it's affecting your phone. So we have our own problems too. Generally, as Nigerians, we need to change our attitude to responding to information. Yes, do we still have to do more? Yes, we are Nigerians. We know if the way we catch information is by dramatizing it, then let's go and dramatize it.
No,
what I'm saying is
dramatizing as
emphasizing. What I'm saying is if you have to go do some programs.
No, okay.
Like, yes.
That is not dramatizing, because what you are saying is what Reverend Dominic is saying in a different sort of a way, that it might be that you might take on behalf of your constituents the position of, this thing has not been noted by my constituents yet, but it's my responsibility.
Yes.
These people,
everybody go back
need
to
to create for
That's what we are talking about.
Yes. That's not dramatizing, sir. That's not dramatizing.
What?
That's bringing to the fore things that you know are likely to become issues much later on. And because you said rightly that this thing,
sometimes
yesterday.
Sometimes in information dispensation, that is, there are some programs you do. You even engage the the people in the theater art to start doing some programs that will actually educate people.
Okay.
Some years back, there was this program there. I think I know, or something like that. Or yes, I know. It's about children, educating children about dog abuse, sex, and all those stuff. Okay. So there was this drama then that they were actually chunking out to start educating children and teenagers on that
because
aspect.
we have a problem of drug abuse.
Drug abuse. So
and it was important enough.
What I'm actually talking about.
Okay, that's
if you have to go do some of these programs to make sure. Yaga Africa is doing something on Election 101 now on one of the TV stations, talking about the election, because it's after the news. People are watching the news and they now talk about, they go to the public, they talk to people in public. So people get interested because they have public at least talking about this program, the people in the common man on the street talking about it. So we have to use every opportunity which has not
happened in this case.
I'm here now talking about it. People from my constituency will be listening. Nigerians will be listening. Okay. Every one of us will actually go out there, start letting our people know.
While you were speaking, Mr. Ibrahim called in from Kano. From Kaduna. Good morning, Ibrahim.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you, sir.
And good morning to your guests.
Good morning.
Ibrahim from Kaduna.
Yes.
Good day to both of you. You see,
thank you.
What your guest there is saying this morning, to be frank with you, I am not really happy for them. Are they not our representatives? Is it until we come out outcry before they should do what they're supposed to do for us rightly? No. I disagree with him in total. They should know what to do at the first place before coming out. Not until we at least we carried out all our outcry here before they should do it. These things should totally cancel. We are not going to continue like this, Uncle Yoru. This topic to me, from what is emanated from him, is not palatable for all Nigerians. How? Now look at government also that they want to do something. Them and Labour are bargaining, and here and there, with all these high costs that we are facing today, challenges here and there, and they say they want to fix in another tariff so that we can increase it. No. Now look at, it's like, why you want to give me something with right hand and you want to collect it back in the left hand? That is just it. Please, Nigeria, we should try to do things at the right time so that we should move forward from where we are. We cannot continue stagnated. We want very good coordinating and communicate to us fully, not just to bring something that will establish our image. Please, the other nations, other community of nations, they are laughing at us. But no, one day we should get it right. That is all my concern for this morning. Please let them represent the representative of all Nigerians, because they come from hook and cranny of us. They should do what is right for us, so that not until we come out again. That is just my little concern for this morning, Uncle Yoru.
Okay,
thank you.
I'm not happy.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
We are not talking in support or against here now. We are talking generally about how we respond to the activities of the National Assembly. That's what you are saying. That generally, we should not let some of these issues, if people have actually shown their interest, this is what we really want. We are not talking about people on the street now when it comes to issues like cyber security.
No, he's talking about you should have our back.
Yes,
our
what I'm saying. Yes,
our elected representative should actually have our back.
That is why it was actually said now at this National Assembly that even if we have all made this mistake when it was being passed, okay, let's go and have another look at the law. That's what has been said. But I'm now saying that generally, moving forward, we should pay more attention whenever there's public hearing. You see, we are not just the one that will decide this law.
That's our civic duty. That's the civic
yes, that's what you're saying.
Of the public. So
now,
what you are doing is calling attention to that civic
so let's go
duty.
and do it, because the National Assembly cannot just approve these laws on their own. If you get to the public hearing, and this is a very bad law, if there's any bad law about to be pushed out, and people in support at the public hearing are more than people against, if people in support will have their way. That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
it's not going to be.
But you also said, through your knowledge, that look, the average, ordinary Nigerian attitude to things is that they don't catch.
That's
what
when I said that. Now we have to start putting a lot of information now.
You're now sitting down and saying this.
People more interested in issues now, so that whenever it's starting, we have to make sure that we educate them.
Thank you. And perhaps for so elected officials to also be more sensitive than they have been in the past.
You see,
in flagging immediately that this is going to become an issue.
That is why a member has actually flagged it. That's why a member actually flagged it. That, oh, look, let's go and have another look at this law. And that's why he has actually done that. The minority leader did that. And then it has been referred to some committee, the relevant committees, to go and have a look and then invite all the necessary institutions to sit together and look at what they can do.
So is it that you don't take Ibrahim's criticism?
No, you don't take it? No. I said, what I'm saying is that we are not, what we are doing is not against what he's saying. Okay. I'm saying we are just saying the same thing.
All right. Okay. Then.
And again, the other person that spoke about the state police.
So that I won't interrupt you, let me quickly take a break. Hold in mind what you were going to speak about. Let me go on break, come back, and then I won't interrupt you. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
There is always more to a story than the screaming headline. The part of a story that is not told casts a shadow. It's like the part of an object that is not reached by light. On TVC News, I'm able to explore the many angles there are to a story, talking to stakeholders, asking the difficult questions, and digging for facts. I believe the viewers are able to make a better decision if they're well informed and understand not just a part, but the complete story. TVC News, first with breaking news.
doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
Our planet, our home, threatened by man's activities with fears of mass extinction on the rise. On Green Angle, we examine the issues that affect our environment, seek solutions to put us on track to secure and restore a cleaner and greener world for generations to come.
Okay, welcome back. And our guest is Honorable Bayo Balogun, Chair of the House Committee on Electoral Matters. We're looking at legislative aspects as a more fact, how these laws, are passed. And we started off with the cybersecurity levy and matters arising and the complaints that are out there. And there have been, aspects that we've touched on about how much is the House doing to actually help enlighten the people. And the Honorable has explained to us that, well, it's a two-way street as a matter of fact. People, do not show the interest that they need to show. And as a result of that, when things have come to a completion, it then surprises people. Okay, we'll continue. And hearing of some of these challenges, Honorable Balogun was about to talk about yet another instance before we had to go on break.
I just want to react to some of the
issues
raised by the callers. Now, someone said something about our motions that are not being taken seriously. You see, when motions are moved and recommendations sent to the executive, it is not every time we know if they are actually done or not. My motion on the coastal road was done in 2019, when we came in 2019. Today, the coastal road is being executed. Will I say it was actually reacted to or not? Because it's not on every day. A lot of motions come out every day. The government will not start picking everything we say. Sometimes they put it, they are advisory.
It depends on if
some are not immediate. You see, some are, yes, after being adopted by the House and sent to the recommendation sent to the
And what was the motion at the time? The general principles of it, that it was in order or not in order?
No, it was in order. It was passed then. And that was 2019. And today, the coastal road is being constructed. Many other people would have had their own inputs too. So it's not that government is not actually working on some of these issues. Their recommendations, their advice to the executive. And the advices will be looked into. Then, where necessary, some of them will be implemented. Some might not be implementable. That's fact. Some might not be implementable. But the government will actually do something about it. Once we feel government is not doing what it's supposed to do, there are ways we actually react to at our own end to call government to order. And that's why we sometimes invite the MDs, the management of the ministries to come, the ministers to come.
Oversight.
Yes, and I think the CBN governor too was invited recently to come and explain some of the issues. And then again, someone also said something about independent candidates. Yes. When it comes to electoral issues.
Okay. Let me take Mazi. Mazi Okorafor has called in from Aruchuku. I don't know if you know the place. Good morning, Mazi Okorafor.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, I guess. So you see this issue of cyber matters arising. Something I don't look at it. Just sitting down, I just reading papers on national issue and so. I started asking myself, last month, the World Bank, IMF, they had economic summit. And in that meeting, if you take well, how many Africans contributed to that program? Now, they have doctored everything they want to do there, and they have not played it, just the script. to countries in terms of economic theory. They will have gotten a country what to do, how to manage their resources, and they are not even talking about how do they generate their revenue. What is the percentage of income of the low cadre? Because like Nigeria, as a case study, as a researcher, we have two categories of human beings in Nigeria today. Either you are rich or you are poor. The middle class is no longer offendable. What do we do? All the economic skills we have compare with the CBN. What do we do to bring back the middle class? If we cannot bring back the middle class, no matter what type of economic theory the team is bringing and CBN is bringing, it will not work. Listen, the poor people suffer these taxes. Now sit down in your own environment, assess the top echelon in Nigeria. We call it the top class. How many of them pay taxes? How many of them? Just call it maybe 5% or 10% of them. The remaining percentage falls back to the low class, the grassroots level of Nigeria. So, the issue of cyber levy or matters, whether matter arising or not matter, the government should go back to the basics.
Okay. All right then. Mazi, I want to thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in on that. But that's where we started from. And the Honorable...
In fact, on that area, what the policy of this government is trying to do is not to start increasing taxes, is to widen the coverage or whatever is being collected. Sometimes if you are collecting 5 naira from 20 million people, it's better than 50 naira from 10,000 people. Because
this is an added expense to the ordinary consumer.
No, that's why I said the policy of this government.
Yes.
So that's why people are saying that this is not actually in line with what the government actually
a lot of people are saying that this is putting further stress on the ordinary citizen.
The National Assembly is actually looking into it already, and I think we will get back to you at the appropriate time.
Indeed.
So now, for what we also said, looking at what the various plans that we have for the coming amendments. You see, after the last election,
talking now about electoral matters
now. Now, after the last election, even though some people might not agree with me, that's still the best election so far in Nigeria. Looking at the indices, the difference between the error margin of the election this time around has actually been the best so far. If you're looking about the process of accreditation is where most of these incidents happened. We can say the last election, the error margin within the accreditation is just less than 10%, unlike what we usually have before. Many areas are actually trunking large numbers of votes, actually not getting it again. So it's only the politician that can tell you what this Beavers has actually done. But moving forward, what we are trying to do this time around, because during the last court cases that we had, most of the cases were actually more about the pre-election matters. So much of them are not about the election itself, about disqualification of one candidate. Another candidate seeking the qualification of maybe other party candidates. So we want to ensure that this time around we conclude the pre-election matters before the general election. So that will reduce the cases. So
are we talking therefore, are you speaking now about a proposed
amendments? Yes, that will go into the laws. Yes,
work is going on.
Yes, work is seriously going on. We are doing a lot of work on it already. And the general election too, the tribunals must also be concluded before swearing in of any winner.
Those are the provisions that are in.
And in doing that too, we need the support of everybody. The lawyers that brings in frivolous cases.
Okay, so you're working on.
Yes, there must be penalty for you bringing in frivolous cases, because some of these lawyers needed a CV for to become a son, and they just do pro bono and get a very bad case and tell you, let me go and give it a try.
Oh dear, you're going into the lawyer's territory there.
Yes, because these are the issues.
If we're not careful, we'll get a call from a lawyer or some lawyers who are saying that, look, That's our area. Leave us out of it.
You see, something more has to go because we cannot all be complaining. I was taken to court on a basis that is no longer a basis for, which was exclusion. Okay. Exclusion is no longer a matter for the tribunal again. And the person who took me to court is even a lawyer. After winning, she even went for appeal, wasting the time of the court. Okay. These are issues. Now, we are also looking at a situation from some of the recommendations we are getting because we have been doing a lot of town hall meetings. We are moving in from one zone to the other. Last week, I think about 2 weeks ago, we were still in Ibadan. We've had one in Lagos. About 2 weeks that we should be in Castina, talking about the inclusion, the women inclusion, and also people bringing out some of their memorandum on whatever suggestion they have. We are collating some of these things together, and at the end of the day, we'll make a presentation to the National Assembly. Okay. Then we now have a public hearings over or what we have actually presented. So, and there are other areas too, because people are actually talking about the waste that is actually going into the production of over 80 to 90 million voters, ballot papers that were hardly used 30% of. What are the ways of cutting some of these costs? We need to clean the data of INEC. Most of the information that we have, most of the people on the register, we need to clean up the register. Many people are on the register that are dead. Many people have moved, and they are actually repeating their names. So during every election, we have never had more than 25 million voters, but the register is over 80 million. Okay, let me bring in Ada and see what her concern is. Ada is in Jos. Good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Yori and your guest there, Honorable Balogu. Good morning. Ada calling from Jos Plateau State. Yori, when I last checked, I couldn't believe it that this particular cyber security levy is backed by law, you know. I begin to wonder which lawmakers, I'm not talking about this particular one now, why did they allow that kind of law to be even in existence in the first instance? Let it be repealed, as far as I'm concerned. Let it be repealed. It's an obnoxious law, you know. Then, having said that, why can't the government of the day, why can't we start trying to look at issues from a sociological viewpoint? Why is crime on the increase, especially cyber crime? Why? It's due to bad governance. Unemployment, people are idle. It said that the idle hand makes work for the devil. Let us look at it from that angle, from a sociological viewpoint, you know. The tax is becoming too many. It's one too many for Nigerians. No matter what the National Registration Agency tells us about the tax and all that, nobody is going to listen again because we are hungry. A hungry man has no respect for law, authority, or even humanity. Let me leave it there. Let's not get Nigeria.
Well, thank you very much for calling in. In fact, maybe connected with this, anybody picked up papers this morning will see that the National Assembly has okayed a death penalty for manufacturers of dangerous drugs. Death penalty. That's a very, very serious one. In fact, the producer was telling me earlier that he has a film report on that. Let's even take that report and come back to studio and talk about it.
Chairman of the Joint Committee, Senator Tahir Monguno, presenting the report to amend the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency Act to strengthen the operations of the agency, review penalty provisions, and enhance the power of the agency to prosecute drug-related offences.
In most cases, in the course of enforcing the law or making an arrest, in drug-related cases, is normally a cartel. They organize themselves and obstruct the officers of the NDLA from performing their constitutional mandate, their legal mandate. So therefore, there is need to impose a very steep penalty to deter them from such acts of obstruction of exercising legal powers.
During the clause-by-clause consideration, the Chief Whip of the Senate, Senator Ali Ndume, disapproved of the committee's recommendations on Clause 11, which proposes a more lenient penalty for drug offenders of not more than 25 years imprisonment, without option of fine. different from what is contained in the Act, which provides a life sentence. The lawmaker proposed a death sentence for anyone found guilty to serve as a deterrent to drug offenders. When his proposal was put to a voice vote, the ayes had it.
I am surprised that the committee is recommending a softer punishment. It was a life imprisonment. In fact, we should change it to death sentence.
It's time to call a spade a spade. If we want to eradicate drug trafficking in Nigeria, the only way to do that is to nip it from the board and to make it a capital offense.
However, some senators strongly disagreed with the new clause and called for a review, but they were overruled by the Senate.
I am accountable to my conscience and to my community. Death sentence is not a matter for a, nay or nay. Everybody should vote so that we will be counted when it matters. Those who vote for death and those who vote for punishment.
The chairman of the committee, Senator Tahir Monguno, while speaking with journalists, advised lawmakers strongly opposed to the decision of the Senate to seek an amendment through a motion, but it's still not a guarantee that their request will be granted. Tijesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
Okay, so as I said, that's the Senate in there, but it's the National Assembly still. There's always been a controversy, perhaps, when it comes to matters of death penalty. Various heads of governments in the country, especially in the states, it is said that they are very, very reluctant to confirm such sentences, and this is a requirement. It requires a government consent, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the governor. Their sentences are actually carried out. The warrants must be signed by the governors, and if they are not actually being signed, that means we are just populating and congesting the prisons. So I think something should be done about that aspect. Maybe if the powers have to be removed from the governors, or I don't know, but we must do something about it, because so many people have been on death row, spending 10, 20, 30 years spending government resources.
Yes, but I'm sure you also will appreciate that this is the one aspect of the law that is sort of, it has this whole, it's controversial because it has to do with life. And nobody wants to put his signature, it would appear, to...
It's about your job, you signed for the job.
To end a life according to law. Nobody's, in spite of it being according to law, in spite of the fact that, I don't know if that is what they call judicial killing, and that's it is within the purview of the law. Still, people are reluctant. And it's not just in Nigeria. As you know, governments, we read about it all over it's not some have been on death row in other countries
why are
for 20
we actually
years.
putting people on death row if the execution will not be carried out? Then, that's why I said, if perhaps they would have left it at the life sentence, or 25 years.
Well, that's the punishment that they were saying. People should vote for either, shall it be the ultimate, the death penalty?
Because we are looking about passing these laws. This is sometimes some laws are not easy to execute. So you have to look at all the conditions attached. If you are going to give people 25 years, they know it's going to be 25 years. Government knows it's going to spend money for 25 years. You can actually plan for 25 years. But we are giving people death sentence. Okay. And these people are not executed, and they'll be there and maybe 20, 30 years.
Well,
and then you can no longer plan, and you start having people overstaying in the prisons. You have congestion of the prison, and this is a situation we are talking of.
It's a moral issue.
Trying to decongest.
It's a moral issue.
And we are trying to decongest. You know, we're saying that before we even pass the laws, let's look at how it's going to be carried out.
Okay. Let me bring on Kesandu, calling in from Owerri. You're our last caller this morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle. Honorable, I greet you, sir. Kengo Kesandu Kingsley, from Imo State. You see, sir, let me start by this cybersecurity law. I strongly believe that you all have accepted and agree with Nigerians that leaves man's humanity to man, judging by the level of unemployment in this country. I think that's one of the unfairest things the government is about to be meted on Nigerians, it will be very much unfair to us. Honorable, you talked about the beavers and innovations and all these things. You can also agree with me wholeheartedly that some of these things, the harm it has caused in the last general election, we followed so many tribunal cases. You see, even the transmission, INEC will just come up with a regulation, something that is not even in the law. The law does not even know it, but they see it as like INEC rule or guideline. So please, sir, I think to a reasonable extent, we must look at what happened in the last election and see some of these things. You know, you also talked about public hearings, and everybody have been shouting. See, while we appreciate some of these things, they are democratic processes. But see, the reason your people took you to the National Assembly, I ran for National Assembly under YPP from Okigwe South. It is for you to carry the yearnings and aspirations of the people and lay it bare before we start talking. Because there are certain issues that we won't even see the members of the National Assembly react to it and say, this is anti-people. Before the public, I said, if the public hearing comes, it will not be a unanimous agreement that Nigerians will say, no, we don't want it. But let us first see that.
All right. Well, thank you very much for calling.
You see, once again,
very briefly, please, because we've run out of time. Very briefly.
I think we
in closing,
we just have to know that the National Assembly will only do what you actually want, and that's why everybody have to come on board whenever laws are made. That's why I'm emphasizing this. It's not just only about this cyber crime bill or act now. It's about the activities of the National Assembly generally. It is very important. Look, when some of these bills are being passed, people hardly have enough information, and it's only the professionals in that field that can come out and brief us. And that's when you go for public hearing. And it is very important for those who are relevant in such areas to come and explain to people. You see, when you're talking about 0.5%, you see, if it had been 0.5, you know what we had before, on every transaction that might be 100 naira on transaction, that one is very easy. But now, because this one is on the amount, these are some of the information that people might not have gotten during the passage. 0.5% of the amount. That means if I'm putting 50 million naira, 0.5
percentage point.
Half percentage
in addition to all the other charges.
All the other charges.
That, you know,
so people might just say 0.5%. Oh, they might not feel it's something. But now they are now realizing it. Okay. So it's about every one of us.
You're saying that the public has to be a lot more participative.
Yes, and also we want the media too to also assist. Okay. Whenever issues are out, please call the people who can actually contribute on such matters.
We're going to have to leave
and bring them on board so that they can educate the people.
We're going to have to leave
on it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Bayo Balogun. Talk to us with on some of the processes ongoing in the National Assembly, and in particular for his area as chairman of the House Committee on Electoral Matters, things looking that might indeed be touched in the revision to the Electoral Act. Thank you very much once more for coming on.
You're welcome.
Indeed. So that's our program. We're going to have to leave it there for now. And please join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Iyori Folari. Bye-bye for now.